hit myself. Hello and good evening. Welcome to the No Exit Experience, where everyone gets a chance to talk and no one is excluded with the exception of those who trample on the speech of others. It's a show where all topics are welcome and no one is censored from giving their honest views on those topics. If you can handle that, then hop on the bus. You're in for a wild ride. My name is Jason, and I'm the bus driver. My passengers today are Robbie, got Richard, and we have Tom in the tiller seat. We do not have anybody online. But we're going to hit it like a truck, and we're going to go a little bit out of order than our list that we have. So, as you know, that sometimes we talk about some sports things, and our first topic is going to be tonight will be a post-mortem on the Sabres season, because it was a couple of months ago, Richard and I were talking, and he said, what do you think success would be? I said, if the Sabres made it to the second round, that's successful. You know, and there's no reason to cry about losing Game 7.
Nope.
Because this is a team that was last place in the league at the beginning of December. From worst to first, roundabout. You know, that was the thing. And I still say that it wasn't Lindy Ruff's doing. It was the arrival of Jarmo, because that combination started the fire. And, because Kevin Adams was a steaming pile of shit. He had no business being a GM, you know?
But he was right about one thing. He was right about no palm trees in Buffalo. That's what he said during the press conference. Like, he basically said, no palm trees. Nobody wants to come here. But the problem is nobody wants to come here because they were losing.
But you know who wants to come here? All these people after they retire. Mm-hmm. Like Marcel Dion. From Toronto, they went to Los Angeles, and then he had a card store, a sports card store in Buffalo for years, and he's still on the alumni hockey team. And in the off season, Lindy Ruff lived in Clarence because my buddy, who's a meat cutter at Federal, would go out to that store in Clarence a couple times, and he'd see Lindy there before, even. And so that's why we can't say, because Richard sent me a quote. Do you want to read it, Richard, or do you want me to? Okay. This was on the radio yesterday or the day before. And it's pretty prescient. If Montreal goes on to sweep or easily handle Carolina, it gives Buffalo a valid claim that they are already built at a Stanley Cup capable level, having pushed the Canadiens to the absolute brink. I'm about 80% in favor of that, and 20% I have opposition. Because anybody who's been a Sabres fan for 30 years knows that for whatever reason, even if the Sabres were good, like 2007 and Ottawa was in the toilet, Ottawa always still had Buffalo's number. And you don't know why, in the calculus with so many moving parts, why one team can always skunk the other, even if this one is at the top. Likewise, I would not have expected the Avs to drop 2 in a row.
And, well, you got to look at Vegas. They won the Cup like about 8 years ago, or not even 8 years ago. They won it 3 years ago with this basically about the same team they have now. And like with Eichel, well, besides the goaltending is different, but they got Mitch Marner now, and they'd give Colorado some problems. I wasn't surprised.
They already are, but I still think the Avs are a better team.
Well, yeah, because of the talent.
But that's the thing about Carolina, because I know that the Habs are itching to be the first Canadian team since '93, because they were the last Canadian team to win the Cup in '93. Because in '94 was the Rangers. That was when what's his name?
Mark Messier.
Messier guaranteed a win. Well, everybody guarantees a win, but then when they do win, then you say, "See, I said it," but they don't say anything about it when they don't.
Yeah, Broadway Joe.
And Joe Louis. What was his name? Joe Willie Namath. That's his given name. Joe Willie Namath. So, do you have anything to contribute on the Sabres post-mortem?
I agree with the statement, that the Sabres pushed the Canadiens to the brink. I think the only reason that the Canadiens won is because the shot that won the game You know how puck sails through the air? The puck was wobbling when the guy shot it, and so it was coming in.
Oh, like a knuckleball.
And what that does, the wind affects it, and it started curving. And there's no way you can stop a curving puck.
No.
And was he screened at all?
No.
Oh, okay. Because, but I'll tell you right now, if that was Hasek or Ryan Miller, they would have had that.
No, people there are people that are complaining about the premature whistle. And you know, as much as people want to say that the ref screwed us, it always happens. Like, it's basically, if the ref doesn't see the puck, they're going to blow the whistle.
Right. That was a good call. That was a good call
Yeah.
because if he loses sight of the puck, he blows the whistle. And that's why he had it in his body. And when he relaxed is when it fell down and rolled in. So that was two separate events. It wasn't that he blew the whistle early and it was a good, no, that was legit. That he clenched, he had it somewhere in him. He knew it was in here, but didn't know where. When he lets go, that's when it falls down. But that was, yeah, if they lose sight of the puck, that's the right thing to do is blow the whistle. So, but I think that Alex Tuck really put a big pin into his demands with being 0 for the second round. You know, if he's wanting $10 million a year for an 8-year contract, and he's pushing 30 years old, he ain't going to get it.
Unless there's a depth of a team like Toronto. Like the Maple Chokes.
The Buds. And yeah, the joke about the Maple Leafs is the last time the Leafs won the Cup was 67. So that's when people that are fans now are in their diapers. The next time they win a Cup is when those same people will be in their diapers again. And I heard that from Torontonian.
Even the Tragically Hip sung about him.
Oh, which song?
I think it's 50 Mission Cap.
50 Mission Cap.
Or
Yeah.
Fireworks.
No. Fireworks just talks about. Well, actually, they mentioned Bobby Orr. So
yeah, I think 50 Mission Cap.
Well, that's just saying because Bill Barilko. Yeah, no, that. Well, whatever. And yeah, REM never sang about any sports teams.
They only say to sing "End of the World." It's the end of the world.
I know the song. It's just, no, there's more. Oh, hey, Mick, welcome, buddy. We're happy to have you. Anything else to say about Sabres postmortem? Go Sabres.
Thank you, Sabres.
There's always next year. And so empty Rite Aid buildings. That's yours.
Hey, I go past one just about every day at work. It's like I feel like these empty Rite Aids that they're not using for something else are just an eyesore. I mean, these buildings are pretty spacious inside, and that, like the one where I go to the bus stop, and that they use it only for 3 months, which is like a Halloween store for 3 months. But otherwise, like the one that I'm going past by my work, it's like not cutting the grass. You got neighborhood house right behind it. It's like an eyesore.
Well, I concur in eyesore, but it's because of they're very stylistic in the fashion of the Rite Aid Corporation. They're not generalized buildings. And, I mean, there's one right next to Tim Hortons in the village of Hamburg, and there's been work going on inside of it, but work, but they're working, but they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what the deal is if somebody's what they're going to put in there, because you'd have to change all of the outside design, But that's just the mark, because there was, remember 40 years ago or 50 years ago, the Command Performance, the haircutting places? Mm-hmm. Command Performance, make you look...
So you keep on looking like you look when you left.
Right. There was one in Blaisdell, and it was going to open, but it didn't. But a liquor store went in there, so they just left the Command and they put liquors under it, and you can still see it to this day because that was the thing that they just used.
Yeah, like my one friend and I were talking about, like, we don't have enough pet supply stores around, around our area, except like if you're going to the boulevard. So it's like, or you don't have enough PetSmart. But a lot of people have pets, why not make them into a pet store?
I don't know. I don't know who's more successful, Pet Supplies Plus or PetSmart.
I think they might be even. Might be. But
Well, I don't think I personally don't think we're lacking in that. But what do I know? I'm not a businessman. And my roommate takes care of all that anyhow.
I mean, I'd give like them like
3 meters?
No, you spoke about zoom lenses
Yeah.
last week,
Yeah,
and then I said Nick has a camera with 1,000 millimeter zoom.
yeah.
He's correcting me.
But that's 3 meters.
Millimeters.
No, 3,000 millimeters is 3 meters.
Oh,
Because there's 100 centimeters in a meter. There's 1,000 millimeters in a meter.
Mm.
So, is it really 9 foot long?
well, Mick,
Focal
you
length.
have to answer that question.
Because I don't know what that means. That the length zoom.
Yeah, I just heard Mr. Windsor say focal length.
So, briefly explain that as to a simple guy like me.
Everything 3 meters away and farther is in focus.
Oh, okay. So, but if it's a longer focal length like that, you can get better definition for further away stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's designed for further away stuff.
unless you want to get eaten by a lion.
Again, I don't know the applicability of that, but I see those pictures of those guys where the lion comes up and is looking at the viewfinder with him. They're both looking
He
at
probably has a slab of meat with him. See, here, please don't eat me.
it. No, that primes them.
Huh.
Yeah, if you give them a piece of meat, you're the next piece of meat. Oh, by the way, if you eat pork, I'm about to ruin your idea of pork. Do you know what feedback is, as far as pigs go?
Feedback.
Feedback. That is chopped up pork that they feed to the other pigs to cannibalize them. They They make them into cannibals.
That is totally not nice.
Well, that's feedback, and it's totally legal too. It's the FDA is all over that. That feedback is legit, and pigs will go nuts if they smell blood, and it doesn't matter what blood. Like if you, I don't know how much blood to smell it, but if you get a cut and you're near there, they'll pig riot. True story. That was in that scene in Hannibal, the movie, where Hannibal tells the guy to push Mason Verger into the pig pen because he said, "You can blame it on me. They'll tell me I'll do it." Because Mason Verger is the guy who, when he was high on dope, cut his face all up, and that's what the guy does, pushes him into the pig sty, and the pigs ravenously just eat him, and there's nothing left. That's the truth. That's the thing. If they throw you into a pigsty, there'll be nothing left of you. I know a guy in South Carolina who,
On Deadwood, too.
yeah. Oh, really?
You didn't see that series?
I only saw a couple of the first episodes. I didn't pick it up.
Do you see that? On
No.
Okay, never mind.
But,
then.
well, no, I mean, I want to watch it, because
Yeah, I don't have HBO.
It's a clever concept,
Mm-hmm.
Someone said to HBO, what if we did a Western where all the characters spoke like they were from the Shakespearean theater?
except they said fuck every other word.
That's right. And it was mixed in with the vernacular.
Yeah, because all those are based on real people, like Seth. Actually,
Yeah, right. One guy's supposed to be Wild Bill Hickok.
Right.
and- yeah.
Yeah, and Calamity Jane is in there. And,
Yes.
yeah, and because I think the reality of the Old West was it really wasn't as there wasn't that any action. There was a general store. There was the blacksmith or farrier.
And then the saloon.
Yeah, the saloon and the hotel. I mean, there wasn't even a bank. That's it. There's not, or there might be 3 or 4 or 5 saloons. That's it. There ain't nothing there. And
What is the purpose of a saloon?
literally to get wasted.
Yeah, there was a bar.
Yeah.
Could we say the purpose of a saloon is to forget about reality?
Yep.
Well, also there's the entertainment too, though. And I don't know if most saloons were also the dancing girls were also prostitutes. I don't know if they did dual roles. You know.
Well, on TV, all the saloons had upstairs rooms.
But whether they were hour rentals or they were for the night, you know what I mean?
I mean, if they're drunk and they can't ride a horse, I mean, that might be a problem.
Although, speaking of, you know that they had drive-by shootings back in the Old West days, but they would ride through town with very fast and either have their hat on low or they might put a kerchief over their face, but they'd be shooting at the houses.
How do you not hear them coming with all the hooves and that, like with the horses? How do you not hear that?
When you have horses, wild horses, gazelles, and you have cattle, and I don't know if you've ever been out west.
Just Vegas and that.
Yeah, that I was in Wyoming, and you don't hear it. You don't hear it. You know, I mean, it's wide open, and Wyoming is like being on the moon. It's not grass; it's just scrubland. There's nothing there. And I even got a place where the satellite radio couldn't get reception in the hills in Wyoming. It's a friggin' satellite. It's 22,000 miles high. And so, in any case, forget that. Okay, now we're going to do something that I think this might be illegal. So that's why I found out more. Richard tries to drag me into Israel-Palestine things because I am a ride or die for Israel, and Richard thinks the Palestinians are lily white and not guilty of anything.
Can I represent my own views, please?
That's how my perception of what you say.
That would be a better way to preference
That's
it.
my perception of what you say because I've never heard you say anything negative about the Palestinians and everything negative about Israel. I've never heard you say one bad thing about.
Well, if this was the 1930s, right, I'd be advocating for the Israelis.
Okay, so the topic is the New York City Land Expo. So you can quarterback this one.
The Palestinians lived with the Israelis in one country where everyone had deeds to their properties. And then in 1948, the UN, without consulting with any of the people who lived in that country, decided to split up the land, 50% to the Israelis, 40% to the Palestinians, and the rest was not given to anybody. Since then, little by little, Israelis are taking over the whole thing. Just this past week, the Israeli government hosted an expo in New York City, and you could go there and you could buy land that was owned by Palestinians and either resell it or you could go there and live there.
Is it Palestinians only, or was it also Israeli land?
We never do that with Israeli land.
I mean, is this on the West Bank, or is this that's not in Gaza,
This is
right?
in the West Bank.
In the West Bank, yeah.
Right. The Israelis want that type of arrangement in Gaza too, but the Palestinians won't let them.
So this is where I look at it the other way. The Palestinians are their own worst enemy because every single time for the past 80 years they've tried to eradicate, to genocide the Israelis because that genocide needs intent. They've lost their asses. The Arabs have tried. There was the 6 Day War. There was the Yom Kippur War. There was the Intifada. There was October 7th. And if you have a gun and I have a rock, and I throw the rock at you and you shoot me, I don't have a right to bitch about what you did to me.
Was David wrong to fight against Goliath with inferior weapons?
Absolutely not.
I agree. When somebody's fighting back, even though they don't have the proper weaponry, I applaud them.
But that's what I'm saying. Would you start the fight with inferior weaponry?
I wouldn't.
Depends what you mean by start.
Be the first one, because
If a bully takes your lunch money for a whole year on the way to school, and then one day out of the blue you fight back, who started the fight?
Because Gaza, you know that Gaza had a 4-star resort in it for being an open-air prison, and the women have an average of 4 children in the open-air prison?
Is that bad?
Well, no, that says that what they're saying is, oh, we're suffering. Well, that's the that's a really weird way of calling it suffering.
So it's not, people cannot suffer if they have 4 children?
No, if they're increasing their population, if if they have enough food and water to have that many kids, and all of them doing it, that means the population's going way up. And
Well, during the Great Depression, didn't people have a lot of kids because they wanted more people to bring in income?
no, they had more kids because so many died in or didn't reach the age of 5 or 10. That they die in youthfulness, because that was before, right then was only the beginning of the in earnest the vaccine era.
And having children that you give birth to die, isn't that a form of suffering?
No, this is this.
I mean, I had a friend once tell me he had 3 children. He says, the greatest fear I have in my life is that I would see one of my children die before me.
Why do you think they had 10 or 15 kids? That's the whole thing. How many people do you know that have 15 kids?
I don't know anyone does.
In this day and age, my roommate has a cousin who has 15 kids.
And I think that they would be devastated if one of those kids died.
Mm-hmm.
But 150 years ago, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, you took that as just the price of doing business.
I'm not sure about that.
Look it up.
Well, I mean, do you really think people just brushed it off when a kid died? I don't think they did.
No,
I think they grieved.
Yeah.
But
I think it's in Sparta, when they said that people would take their babies and put them in the mountains for one night, and if they lived, then the kid was worthy of being a Spartan. I think if your kid died, you felt bad about that.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying having a bunch of kids, knowing they want, because some of them aren't going to grow up, and you're playing the odds. Because the one thing that gets me about having that many kids is the oldest ones get screwed into being supplemental parents. They do the parenting of the younger ones because the parents can't do it all. But don't take the modern age and apply it to the classical age. Nothing is in common. I don't even know what we have in common to 100 years ago.
I disagree. I think throughout history, people have been people.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying they didn't grieve, but I'm saying that's why they would have a ton of kids, because they knew they were going to lose them to disease. I mean, there was a night-style depository up water from the White House, and people didn't realize. They thought the water would be purified just by the way it flows. Human stool was a half mile away, and when the water came to the White House, that's what they drank. That's what killed Tchaikovsky. That
Add water?
he drank the water in Paris to prove that it was good to drink. Took a drink and died a week later of cholera. But in this day and age, cholera, you get a dose of Cipro and you get a liter of fluid and you'll do just fine. It's the dehydration that kills you. But the dose of Cipro kills the cholera bug, Vibrio cholerae. And speaking of, have you ever seen on a menu that says a thing for people with liver disease that consuming fish or shellfish might be hazardous to their health? That's from Vibrio vulnificus. And a woman with whom I went to med school, she did research before she went to med school. Myron Tong, and he said, this Asian guy who said my great-grandfather was Jewish. Myron Tong made that connection about Vibrio vulnificus, which affects people with liver disease. And that's another Vibrio, like Vibrio cholerae. And so that's why you shouldn't eat the seafood.
I don't trust Chinese food anyway, because you don't know if you're eating cat or dogs or
You probably, I don't know what it tastes like, but I'm sure you know if it was cat.
Or it tastes, I don't mean either, but it might taste like chicken. I don't know.
A gator tastes like chicken. But I was wondering about how you cook gator, and the tenderest. I don't know where they get the tenderloin from, like as you know, like every other animal up in here, because it's a reptile. But the tail meat is very tender. But the white meat or the dark meat is better for a stew. But yeah, I don't know if that land expo was actually legal. So it's kind of like they're taking the lead from our president and do it, and the laws be damned, you know, later. And also, Bibi is losing. Although there's a couple of war hawks that are in the cabinet, and Bibi is losing his grip because he was a war hero, you know, and his brother Yonatan was the only one who died in the Entebbe raid back in '74. His brother was the only one, but now he's getting old, and remember, who was it? Shimon Peres, who was shot by the assassin, or was it Ariel Sharon? But the one who got shot was shot by a religious guy, you know, just like the MAGAs that say you're not MAGA enough, they shoot you. So but the thing, you can't. The most efficient military in the Middle East is Israel. And if they wanted to genocide Gaza, they could. They'd go block to block and just kill them all. And
What if they wanted to do it in a way where they had deniability? You do recall that when the Nazis were eliminating the Israelis, they were just telling the world they were relocating them.
well, that's true, but none of us knew because like it was that scene in did you see Band of Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Dick Winters says, divisions saying they're finding these camps all over, and they said there's one up in Poland that's 6 times bigger. They didn't mention Auschwitz by name, but that was they're saying it. People couldn't believe. They couldn't believe, especially here or in the UK. They couldn't believe they were actually putting people. They were gassing them. And
Believe it
burning
or not, there are people who smuggled cameras into the camps, took pictures, smuggled them out of the camp to Israel. Well, there was no Israel, but 2 people who took it to Roosevelt and showed him the pictures. He did nothing.
Well, neither did the Pope, and he was more powerful. And because remember, the U.S. at the beginning of World War II was the 17th most powerful military in the world, and that was because I just watched it today on the History Channel that World War II turned it around because the U.S. had at the end of the war had half of all the manufacturing in the world, 2/3 of the gold reserves in the world, the number 1 GDP in the world, and the U.S. GDP had doubled from the beginning. And but at the beginning, it was the 17th most powerful military, rocketed to number 1.
So they said to FDR at this meeting, they said, if there's one thing you could do, bomb the tracks so the cars can't make it to these camps. And Roosevelt said, I'll talk to our military people. So when he talked to Eisenhower and the other high military brass, they said to Roosevelt, what do you want us to do? Bomb the tracks or use those bombs to bomb the German army?
I don't think it was that binary. I understand, but that's avoiding the topic because it's not that binary. You can spare briefly a little bit of your munitions.
Well, that's what history is saying. It wasn't an either or. You could have done both.
Because if you stop the materiel, then that's also you stop the war machine from rolling. Because the reason why I mentioned that is one of my attendings when I was in residency was in the Army Reserve, and he got sent to Iraq. And he said, staff pukes exist to keep the war machine rolling, period. They don't care if your doctors are paid well or have all their equipment. They don't care if the JAGs have pens to write with. They don't care if there's nurses. Everybody exists to keep the war machine rolling. And I think of like the Juggernaut, from India. Because the Juggernaut was a huge rolling thing like a cassock that when a guy died, you know what his wife would do?
What's that?
Throw herself under the wheels and get crushed by it. You're like, what the hell, dude?
So the Juggernaut had to do with funerals?
Yeah, the Juggernaut was, it was supposed to, I don't know if they made one for each person or if they used the same one, but that was the thing. The wife, the bereaved wife, the Hindu wife, would throw herself under the wheels to get squished.
So there's a new meaning to that word now. Like in sports, they mean a team that can't be stopped.
Right.
Yep.
So
words can change their meaning over time.
Well, absolutely. I was thinking about that. What was the thing? Fence. So when you told me about the fence when we were doing the wood thing, that gave me 4 definitions for the word fence, and I was thinking of frame. which also applies to you, because I can think of frame, a structure which things are put on or in to set somebody up for a crime, or to set up a shot for still or moving pictures. So those are the three I could think of for frame. So
Yeah, and there is a sport called fencing.
that's part of it. That's the whole thing. To fence,
On guard.
to fence, to sell the stolen goods, and to fence is to what was it for on the wood?
To guide your saw.
Yeah.
Use a fence to guide your saw.
Those are the four definitions.
And so I wrote to Vanessa because she was here yesterday, and who popped over unexpectedly? Tony, the truck driver.
I thought he was in Olean.
He is, but he had to. It was Memorial Day weekend. He
oh.
wanted to socialize, so
Yeah.
he stopped over.
Yeah.
And so Vanessa and Tony had a talk. And I wrote to Vanessa today, I applaud you because you attempted to mend the fences with Tony, a term that means making peace. Like after every election, politicians will call other politicians and attempt to mend the fences. I might have said that about you, but that was just politics. So, yeah, and then I wrote to Tony and I said, was there progress made when Vanessa approached you? And Tony replied, he had a very pithy reply, something like, we're cool.
Does that mean she didn't ask him for money? I mean, is that a victory? The less I know about that, the better. You know, that go with God, because I ain't with you.
So there's another definition of fence.
Well, no, that's the same thing. Mend the fences is the same as fences. You know, like that's the same deal. Because literally to mend the fences, because if your fence breaks, then your animals get out. And good fences make good neighbors. That wasn't that who's the Robert Frost? Didn't he say that?
Yeah, he wrote a whole poem about
Yeah, I
fences.
mean, if my neighbor was skinny dipping in their pool, I don't want to see it.
That Robert Frost poem starts out with the line, there is something about a fence that wants it down.
I don't know. Okay, so well, we're gonna move on. Unless, do you have any more?
Fact check. Tchaikovsky died in St. Petersburg
Oh, then who am I?
after he went to a restaurant and he said, oh, can I have a glass of water? And they said, we're out of water. And he said, just take it out of the tap. They said, you sure you want that? Sure.
Then I'm thinking of somebody else, but somebody else did that in Paris. So I'd have to also fact check what I said. I didn't mean to.
So Tchaikovsky gets sick and he dies, and the public demands a funeral. Now, usually when you die of cholera,
Stay away.
get that body burned or whatever. So they sent him to an undertaker who prepared him, and then thousands of people went past that casket. And as you notice, when people go past a casket, I've seen this, a lot of people will touch the hand.
Yeah, or kiss it.
I've never seen that, but I believe it.
Oh, I've seen many older women, the last kiss of the husband before they close the casket.
I see.
And yeah, there was somebody who in 1871 drank the water in Paris and died a week later from cholera after saying it was healthy. So, do you have anything more to say about
No, that is it.
the land? Okay, so I'm going to go on to. We're returning to ENM, ethical non-monogamy. I still think it's bullshit. Now, polyamory is part of that. They overlap a lot, but you don't have to be polyamorous to have ethical non-monogamy. You can be one and one. You know, it could be like a husband and husband, or a husband and wife, or a wife and wife. It just doesn't need more than two people. They could just have their agreement, ethical non-monogamy, that they can go and pick up whomever. I see it on Tinder all the time. That incredibly beautiful women that like, wow, I wonder why she isn't taken. Then I see ENM. I'm like, because they are taken. And then when you throw in the mantle of polyamory, and everybody has to agree on it, as you were saying. Well,
Rob might not know what we're talking about.
okay, so polyamory literally means multiple loves, and so that's like when you see like the throuple, like on Family Feud Canada, there was a throuple of 3 guys. But there's I don't know why I got this ad. Honestly, God's honest truth, I don't know why I get this ad. It's for BiCupid, and it was they say about 2 bi women and 1 guy who gets it, and they're the couple. And that was the throuple with 1 guy and 2 women was on SWAT in like season 3, and so that's about 10 years ago. And so the polyamory is you can have multiple things, like you can have 2 guys and 3 women, but the problem is invariably nobody is perfect. So very few, if any, will have the same amount of attraction to every other, or you'll develop a favorite, and that leads to a power imbalance. And so, and if everybody has to agree, if you need that much sex that you can't get enough from the other people in your group, and you got to go outside. If I was the person on the outside that wanted to screw this person in the polyamorous group, I'd say, what is this, sex by committee? Because you know what a horse built by committee is? It's a camel.
So, have you ever met anyone in the kink community?
No.
There was a show here where it was made about people in the kink community. So they came here every week, and I got to meet a lot of people. And it was it's such an interesting subculture. What some of the principles in the kink community is, here's your sexual desire, here's your real life. Let's separate those. And so a lot of the people, they would gravitate toward me when they would come over because I like to have conversations. Now, why would they gravitate toward me? Because they're living in a subculture. You don't discuss things outside the sex. So you don't say to somebody, you say to them, well, let's have sex. But you don't say, can I tell you about something that happened in my life recently with my son? That's not good. And if you meet them at a mall, you pretend you don't know them.
Right, like you signed an NDA.
And so anyway, I have a friend, and she sent me a recent picture of herself, and I sent it to Jason, and he said, she looks very beautiful. I said, well, she's polyamorous, which is how she defines herself. So she will often write to me, and I'll say, oh, what happened to Jay, your friend Jay? Oh no, he got kicked out of the of my life because he had sex with another woman without telling me. I said, what was he supposed to do? She said, he's supposed to tell me about her and bring it up to me and the other people in our relationship. We vote on whether you can have sex with that person because we don't want you bringing any diseases into our little group here. So, so it's very strict in that sense. It's like a democracy of a little organization, which is how the Mormons are too, you know.
So they basically pay. So they basically pay for 7. They basically have to vote for the 7 wives you got to marry, right?
Yeah. Oh, you mean in the Mormons?
Yeah.
In the Mormons, the women essentially run everything, and the man is like a breeder mare, and that is his job. And other than that, the women don't really need the men.
And as far as sex goes, on the Y chromosome, that's all we're there for too, is to make males. I mean, that if there's like the Komodo dragons that can reproduce by parthenogenesis, which is unfertilized eggs, they're always female.
And they always eat anything too.
Dragons?
Those Komodo dragons. They eat like, they'll eat like, and they go.
You could give it a Big Mac and it would eat it?
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, but they'll eat basically like if they see like a pig laying down sleeping, they go right and eat that.
It's a huge salamander.
So it would. Do people have them as pets?
I don't think they're legal, and
No.
there's not a lot of them. So I generally, because like there was in the one James Bond movie, it was the first or the second one with Daniel Craig, where there's in this casino in what's the place?
Well, whatever. Continue. with
Yeah,
the
well,
story.
it's a high-end hotel in Asia
Yeah.
or in one of the islands, Macau, and a guy gets thrown in there and they go and attack him. But they have them because they can afford it. Because it's like people that have saltwater fish tanks, which are hell to manage. That means you got a lot of money. You know?
I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Yeah, I mean, because it's like they're tropical fish, basically.
I see.
And keeping and not all salt is the same. Like I think the Pacific is saltier than the Atlantic.
I don't know.
But
Yeah.
but they're not
neither.
they're not all the same. If you check them all, you're going to find differences that are statistically significant.
I only tasted the Atlantic. I have not tasted the Pacific yet.
I threw up in the Pacific Ocean. I'm proud to say I chummed the water.
So if you dip your finger and you go like that, can you taste the salt?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Is that true? You
A
can
little
taste-
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah.
Could you put it on your hamburger and then eat your hamburger and it would taste a little bit salty?
You'd have to actually dry it out. You know, that's how they get the sea salt.
Yeah.
They just take it and evaporate the water off, and what you're left with is crystalline salt.
Is sea salt tastier?
Well, that's the thing. Like the Himalayan salt, it's the other additives that are in there.
Not good for the skin, though.
Oh, drinking it? You mean
No,
putting it on your
swimming in
food?
it. Swimming in it.
Oh, I see.
I don't know about
Oh,
that.
that would be why. That's why they wash off after they come
Yeah,
out
you
of
gotta
the
wash.
ocean.
Yeah, you gotta wash off it.
Well, because it will.
That makes sense.
And
Like I got a tree stump in my backyard, and people said put salt on it.
Oh, yeah.
and it'll kill it.
Well-
so imagine what it does to your skin.
yeah, it'll dehydrate it, and that's the thing. I'm not sure what the bacteria is in their bite. Like,
You mean the dragons?
yeah, that's what Mick says.
Yeah, Mick, would you ever own a kimono dragon?
Komodo.
Komodo?
Komodo.
Komodo.
Sounds like a motorcycle on four thing paws. I don't know what they call them.
A Komodo dragon is like a motorcycle?
No, they sound like that.
Oh, that sounds like a motorcycle.
Komodo.
Oh.
But yeah, I think that it's more trouble than it's worth because if I was the person on the outside and I think that other people are voting on if they can have sex with me, that's a democracy among them. But what about me? I'm the one who's getting voted on.
Well, maybe they bring you in for an interview,
Yeah, that
which would be an interesting thing to sit in on.
that is the most unromantic thing I can ever think. I don't know if that would give me a stiffy. You know, having somebody quiz me. You know, I mean,
But what is like the difference of swinging and this?
Similar. Very similar.
yeah, because the polyamory is regular partners versus like keychain parties. You know, where
You put your keys in a hat.
yeah, and whoever's keys you pull out, that's the one who you go and knock
you
the
go
boots
home,
with.
yeah.
So
Which goes to show that there's a version of kink that's gone throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well-
they could say, hey, we have precedent. We didn't just come up in this century.
And Ben Franklin was part of the Hellfire Club. And one day he came home with a baby, which was probably from a prostitute that he screwed. That's what history says. He just came home with a baby, and it was likely from a prostitute.
Who raised it?
He did. The only person, let's see, of all these famous people are there's a Theodore Roosevelt VI. He's the kid, not political, and William Howard Taft the fifth, or the fourth or the fifth, was a congressman from Ohio, but like no relations from George Washington, no relations from Abraham Lincoln. Although John Tyler's grandson is still alive. There was the two of them, one died, and the one is still there. John Tyler, the 10th president. Because John Tyler had two wives. When one died, one of them had 7 kids, the other had 8. But I don't know if it was the first or the second one. But there was 15 total. And but Tyler was old when he had the kids. And then they, one of the kids these guys' father was old when he had them, and now they're old, and that's how it could go 200 years because he never knew his grandfather at all, not even close.
Mick, we'd like to thank you for all your thoughts on the kink community, or as you say, the lifestyle.
Yeah, because I really because I don't. You know what's a term I don't like? I don't like pansexual because in my own mind, pan means everything, and that makes me think. I just go to like bestiality, and I don't like that idea. You know, like instead of why don't they just call themselves bisexual versus pansexual? You know, because most people aren't right down the middle bi. They're either a little more straight or they're a little more gay, but that's the thing, you know, that they're not straight down the middle. There's one that they like more than the other, unless they're absolutely fixed, and that's proven by research, well, interviews with people. But I think we've beaten that. That's just what I think. Now tell me what you think. Does anybody else have anything else to add?
Well,
to
I
this?
think that you have your own preferences, so you're entitled to that.
Yeah, I'm not going to yuck anybody else's yum.
No.
That's like kink shaming, and that's bullshit. You know, if you can find somebody, that's why I give 2 thumbs up to anybody who is homosexual and can find a partner, considering they have a much smaller pool from which to choose.
I mean, my sex life sucks, so I don't judge anybody else's sex lives.
Fair enough. Okay, so Richard, Jefferson quote.
Oh, we're up to me already.
Oh yeah, well,
Didn't you skip over Rob?
well, I'm going a little bit out of order, so
Oh, you're throwing me off there.
I know
Okay,
you
here's
can
the
bounce
Jefferson
back.
quote. This is great. Talk about making a quote over 100 some years ago and it being applicable to today. Here it is. Every so often, a political huckster comes along who tries to convince the American people and tell them what they need to do when what he's telling them to do is really in the huckster's interest. Sound like anyone you know?
I don't know. I true. That's applicable. That enlightened self-interest. But I still think the quote from Hannibal Barca, like Barcelona named after his family. I mean, like, dude, Hannibal. But we will find a way, or we will make one. I just find that from 2,000 years ago to still be applicable. Or semper ubi sub ubi. Do you know what that's Latin for?
No.
Always wear underwear.
I do.
It's not you in the person. No, because
that's reassuring to hear that.
that's just. But that's just words in order. Like semper means always. Ubi means where. Like where are you? Ubi est. Quinem est tempestas hodie. How's the weather today? Or pluit. It's snowing or it's raining. And so that's why ubi est, where is. And so that's why it's using where, the double meaning, always where, and then sub, under, where. So translated into English, that's why it makes sense. But
So for those Latin scholars watching, we're reaching out to you.
Latin is not dead, it's eternal.
In today's weather, it is pooey or whatever they say. Latin.
Well, in French, it's il pleuve. And la neige, il neige, it's snowing, and la neige is the snow.
Or garbage.
Garbage, no. That's very insulting to anybody who speaks French.
I'm not insulting them.
Yes, you are.
I don't.
You said garbage when I was speaking French. That's
Wow.
insulting.
That's an English version of garbage.
Trash,
Yeah.
I've heard that.
basura, la poubelle, les ordures. Les ordures is a very...
Who cares? They got to pick on the weather somehow.
Fair enough. Okay, so Robbie, best decades.
Yeah, I mean, we're not Rich. You're still young, but you know, I think the best decade, in my opinion, was the '90s. It was like carefree, everything was like decent price, but you know, the people that lived in the '50s, obviously 10 cents for gas or 25 nickel for Coca-Cola. It's like I've always wondered, like if I lived in the 50s, would it be better than the 90s?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about because usually people who say that a decade is the best, they will list all the good things. They won't list a single bad thing.
What did Billy Joel say 40 years ago? The good old days weren't always good, and tomorrow ain't as bad as it seems. That's from the song "Keeping the Faith." Because I don't think of the 90s like that because I think one song summarizes all of grunge. That's Interstate Love Song from STP, Stone Temple Pilots. That, like, the whole grunge thing, that song encapsulates it. But for me, it was the 80s because that's when I was growing up, you know?
Yeah, so, well, I was, growing up like basically a decade after you.
That's what I mean. That
So you happen to choose the decade you were growing up in.
yeah,
Well, we were teenagers.
when you went from minority to majority, more or less.
Yeah, teenagers, that a lot of people will want the decade of their teenage years because the music connects to you so
Yep,
much
and it
when
was-
you're a teenager.
Plus, it was more carefree. You didn't really need work until you didn't have to work until you were 16 and that.
Oh, yeah,
basically.
yeah. The economic situation.
Plus, it was the economy was great back in the day. I mean, 99 cents when I first started driving.
Yeah, when the working class had more power in the government.
Yeah, now it's like what I make now. I would have been rich back then.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
But you got to look at the social mores because if you were not a straight white non-Jewish male in the 50s, any one of those other groups that's the opposite of that was disenfranchised. I mean, you couldn't be gay, you couldn't be a lesbian at all.
Yeah.
You couldn't be black, you couldn't be a Jew because all of them were cast by the wayside,
Yeah.
vilified, and treated like shit by the white men. I mean, like the woman from Hidden Figures, that because she was black, she couldn't use the white bathroom. She's doing the math for the Mercury Project, but she has to use the black bathroom. And that's why my roommate and I are watching the Amadeus series on Stars, just like the movie.
Right. They made this movie. Amadeus is about Mozart. It was a movie. They turned it
1984.
into a series.
Yeah, and it's just really good. But there are so many anachronous black folks. There just wouldn't be that many there. There wouldn't,
So
especially.
like they reimagined it.
Yeah,
They did that on Bridgerton too, didn't they?
I didn't see Bridgerton, but yeah, the only.
Like, let's rewrite the past the way we would like it to have been.
Yeah, because if you do it intentionally, like in Hamilton, but actually, who wasn't completely white was Alexander Hamilton. He was from the British Virgin Islands, and he was darker complected. And I still, on those same lines, the president who was the best to the Native Americans was George Washington, and then they've gotten worse and worse as time goes on. I never had appreciation for indigenous peoples until I moved to Hawaii. Now I love it. I love it when anybody who's indigenous gets a leg up on the white man. I love it. And also there's a Holocaust of women in the northern parts of North America.
Yeah.
Whether in Alaska or in
Native Canadian women are dying and ending up in garbage dumps.
10 times as high as in the lower 50. I mean, women just disappear. And it's a Holocaust. It really is. I mean, they're just disappearing left, right, and center.
Well, you said earlier, for you, Holocaust means intent.
No, I said genocide needs intent.
Okay, so you don't think the Holocaust was genocide?
No, I'm saying it was in the Bible. Be a Holocaust with.
So do those two words have different meanings for you?
Yes, they do.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Genocide is killing all the people, whereas
I'm trying to figure out your vocabulary.
well, I used to do the reading for Lessons and Carols, and it was what was his name? Abraham. Abraham, when the ram got caught in the thicket, instead of sacrificing his son Isaac, use the ram as a holocaust for God. That's what that has. So, I mean, and it's just,
I'm fine with people having different definitions of words.
unless they don't apply. Like if I say it's red when it's like this is blue.
You can do that. I'm not gonna object to that.
Well, your microphone is blue.
Great.
That makes it sound like I have a learning disability.
No, it's not. It's red. Just like his coat is red.
The bummer. Did we hear anything more from TikTok?
In terms of what?
Anything back?
They don't usually write to the people who post things.
No, what I mean is, are we getting published there? Do we get 100 followers?
No.
Oh,
It's amazing how many people I send them that link. Say, please follow it, and please tell your friends to follow us. If we get 100 followers, the whole show will go up.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't do anything.
well, that takes effort.
That's right.
Lots of it. We may have to do commercials.
You might have to click and say, I follow this.
We may have to do commercials. So we got to
Well, that's
Beverages by-
if you want to even maximize your profits more.
Beverages by Strites. Was it Joe Franklin? That's what he would advertise on WR.
we want to be huge, Buffalo, huge.
Huge. Do we have time for one more topic? Sure, if we bullet it. But whose was pain and suffering?
Mine, but it would take more than 3 minutes.
Okay, so sports betting. Robbie, you got 20 seconds to encapsulate it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, the question is, like, is it ruining sports? Because I feel like there's part of me, like, you watch a football season and it feels like it's scripted in one way or not because for these bettors and that. Like, one week it seems like all the favorites lose. And then it's like there's weeks that, like, all the home teams lose. It's and I feel like it's almost like the sports betting is involved in this.
You think players and teams might be getting bribed?
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling with now that you have more sports betting in all these sports.
The more people that are involved, the more dirty it is. But the only exception is boxing, because that's just one person or two people. That's the most corrupt. But the least corrupt is dog racing, and then horse racing. But you'd have. It was like people that deny the moon landing. That would need 400,000 people to keep a secret. And to do that would entail, that would be RICO. And you know what RICO violations get you? 30 years in jail. And I don't care if you were giving me $2 million. And also, it's hard to hide $2 million. You can hide $1,000 by putting it in your pocket.
Well, in the days of crypto, that's no longer the case.
But
Because nobody knows how much is in your crypto wallet.
well, fair enough, but I don't think it's that straightforward because there's only a finite amount of somewhere between about 25% of crypto is completely lost. People lost their wallets or forgot the password, and only 21 million bitcoins can be mined. Once they reach that 21 million, there's no more.
Well, but you can still buy them.
Oh yeah, but that's what
And you can still transfer them.
But then, how cost effective is that? You know, because so I don't think that
No, it doesn't have to do with cost effectiveness. If I want to bribe you with $1 million, I just take that million and I buy 1 million for Bitcoin, whatever it's selling for, doesn't matter to me, and then I transfer it to your wallet.
I mean, you look at that one ref in the NBA. He got in trouble just
Tim
because.
Donaghy.
Yeah, he got in trouble for, like, basically because he bet, and what he did was, like, calling fouls on the other team to win the game.
He was a referee?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tim Donaghy. Well, you ever hear Pete Rose?
Yep, and he was banned for life.
Boy, you get a corrupt referee.
Well, yeah, that's the thing because
That's really poisoning the well.
well, because they did that in college. You know, they call it point shaving because you can't score more than you would, but you can only score less,
Yeah.
and that's why you can't point shave like in soccer or in hockey because it's hard enough to score anyways.
Yeah, right.
But for the high scoring games, I don't even have a joke for this. Oh, a priest, a minister, and a rabbi walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "What is this? Some kind of a joke?"
Okay.
Finally, you laughed. Okay, so we're cruising to the end. There's my spiky hair crushed by the headset. If you have any feedback, you can contact us on our socials, or if you have my number, you can text me. Feel free to watch us for 1 week on Twitch, 1 month on Facebook, and forever on YouTube. Have a great weekend, y'all.